This is one of 5 state fish hatcheries in the state of Texas, freshwater fish hatcheries in the state of Texas. We have 3 saltwater hatcheries as well. And we all work together to work with our fisheries management folks, and we try to keep up with the needs of our water bodies in the state of Texas, as for multiple reasons. We have NFP programs, neighborhood fishing programs, that we stock fish for more urban areas that don't have access to fishing. They don't have access to the large reservoirs, or they're not that close. Then it gives them a fishing opportunity as well. We have conservation stockings for some of our species, where we try to get those species back to their normal ranges. Sometimes fish can hybridize with other fish. We try to not have that happen, and we can help correct that in some cases. What we do actually on our day-to-day project or process here at A.E. Wood, along with all the other hatcheries, we all kind of do the same thing, only with different species. We'll take, like, the largemouth bass. We take care of our brood stock. They have to be pure Florida brood stock. For our Florida bass program, we have to use pure largemouth bass brood stock when we spawn our largemouth bass. We don't try to cross them, and we keep them here, and we spawn them in the spring. We spawn them indoors in 80-foot raceways. We'll take the mats and we hang them right outside in those troughs out there, and then they hatch. And in about a week, depending on temperature, everything's temperature driven. And in about a week, they'll swim up, and we'll test them. We'll kind of look at them. We sample them to make sure everything looks good. They're just little tiny fry. They're about 7-8 millimeters long at this point. And when you see them settle down, you'll see them just kind of wiggle a little bit. They're barely strong enough to move. And just sitting on the bottom. So once they're ready to go, we fertilize ponds about 7 to 10 days, depending on temperature, and we try to get zooplankton to grow, and that's what these guys eat on for about a month. And the goal is to get them up to about 38 to 40 mils consistent. We don't want a few of them that size. We want the average or better to be at least 38 millimeters. That's our goal. And then we have a list. We start stocking the lakes that we were asked to stock. And once they're out in the wild, they're on their own. They do very well. I mean, Florida bass did not exist in Texas. One of the milestones in fisheries management, or using aquaculture as a tool for fisheries management, is recruitment to the fishery. What I mean by recruitment to the fishery is that they don't just survive. They survive to reproduce. They survive to be part of the fishing population where they're fishable. People should come out and visit this hatchery in this area, not just to see the fish, but to look into what role does this hatchery play, not only here in San Marcos, but for the state of Texas. And it's a very positive one. Our water source is the San Marcos River. We have a grate out in the bottom of the river. The water passes through the grate, and it gets pumped up to the reservoir that you see up here on station, and then gravity feeds to our ponds. But all that water gets put back to the river. We take the water, we use it for aquaculture. Then when we drain our ponds, it goes back to our treatment plant, and then it goes back to the river. So just on average, say we'll use 200 acre feet of water out of the river a month. We'll put back 200 to 300, because on the rainy season we catch a lot of rain here, and all that gets pushed back to the river as well once we're done with it. So we do take water from the river, but we also put it back, and we have a treatment plant that it goes through before it goes back. Just our water quality, we test it monthly to make sure we have certain guidelines and ranges that we have to fall within, and we always easily fall within those ranges. All of our water goes into this structure here. This is called the convergence box, which goes into these drum streams, which then goes to those bed filters. Did you hear those 2 reports? I've always loved working with fish. I grew up fishing in Indiana with my grandfather. I loved everything about being outdoors. I like being outdoors. I've got several degrees. I did marine biology. I love the ocean, the fish especially. I really liked working with fish. I've been doing aquaculture, raising fish for over 20 years. I'm always learning. like I tell my kids, the day I stop learning, probably the day in the box. Because I learn something almost every day. Always figuring something out. Always new twist on this. New, more efficient way to do this. Or learning, dealing with people. Learn about those individuals and how to get them to perform at their peak performance is different from each individual person, and how to get them to work together. So there's a lot of communication and management of people that I'm always learning to be better at that. There are other jobs that I think would be interesting, but nothing that I think would keep my attention like this. And this does keep my attention because there are other things I could do that would not be near as hard as this. But that's part of the fun. That is part of the fun. I like the challenge. I don't want a job that I go in and make 13 widgets a day and then go home. That would bore me. Here, we're very conscientious of where we're at and what we're doing and what we're trying to be a part of. And I think we do a very good job, and I think it shows, but because the fisheries in Texas are very good, in part due to inland fisheries and in part to the hard workers of all of our hatcheries.